It's just the way I feel. It's just the way I feel. Once, 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 once freaking a gigabyte gets up to 1,000, it should be a terabyte. You see, once we don't need all that extra shit. You know what I mean? All that math. And I know, dude, you're the dude I have to deal with when it comes to time zones. Okay, so I understand completely what's going on in your mind. Because like you've actually gotten me to where I use freaking like time zones and shit, and I never did that before, so I understand it. Yeah, it's true. But I don't know if you'd be interested, Dave, or not. But you guys, I've been talking to Naroki and all them about maybe trying to get together freaking an actual tabletop role playing game too. So I guess this would be a perfect time since we're talking about the internet LAN parties and stuff. But if you guys ever want to do that, man, we should get together and kind of plan it out and everything and do something, just to hang out. Did you hear that, Dave? This same dude that said that freaking the military had nothing to do with gaming. He just said it. His dad. Okay. I've been saying it on a lot of the episodes. We're basically talking about gaming, but as adults. This is an adult conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're not fucking around and doing, talking about like award systems and shit, and how great Pokemon was. I can't get any of my gamer buddies to actually watch it on the WLC because we're just too complicated for them. Like they're there to stream their video games and do the WLC, but they don't actually want to think and like have to communicate their thoughts like that. You know what I mean? So. Right, and see, I keep putting it on the WLC, which is watch, like, and comment on Home Away from YouTube, and nobody touches it. They're like, "Oh no, that's infamous. He's posting that crazy techno shit again, and that technical stuff can't have anything to do with that, you know." But I like doing this stuff. A guy that I used to watch a podcast for. His name was hardcore or casual hardcore gamer is what he went by, and he used to do a podcast and he stopped doing it. And then I was like, why not just start up my own, to kind of do this kind of a style instead of his, because each person has their own style, and this is the kind of stuff I was always into, and I've had these conversations with you guys too, So we've basically. Now see, you guys are just geeking out now. This is like just total nerd shit. Well, with computers, they took away the easiest way of showing a person how to. How simple it is for computers, and that was the hard drives. When I first learned about how simple it was to work a computer, a guy I knew that I was working with, he sold me a computer, and he said, "Now look, this is how simple it is." And he took a CD and he took it out, and he said, "Now watch." He hit the button, and the CD came out, and he put it in. And he says, "All I have to do is push this in, and don't touch it." And then he did that, and the computer miraculously just put the CD where it needed to be. It fired the whole computer up, and it took you straight to the program that you wanted automatically. I knew this was going to be pretty good, but I wanted to hold off on this next part because I want to get into how console gaming goes online and talk about that. So that's going to be cool. We'll start talking about the Sega Dreamcast and start talking. Well, I mean, I knew this one was going to be. I knew this one was going to be good. So this is where the war begins. You know what I'm saying? And then it starts getting even deeper and deeper because now all of a sudden it goes to freaking PlayStation, and then it goes to Xbox. You know, so it's just from this point on we start talking about really cool stuff. So it's SegaNet service-enabled multiplayer gaming in titles like Phantasy Star Online. Despite its innovation, the Dreamcast struggled commercially, partly due to the stiff competition from Sony's PlayStation 2. And that was probably where I was talking about with PlayStation 2, where you could put the little piece up on top of it, and it could make it to where you could get online. I know that it had to have that first before, or it could have been Xbox actually, because now that I think about it, but I know the PS2, it was stand-up, I believe. I'm not quite sure. It was one of those stand-ups like how Xbox is now, and you had to stick it right up on the top of it, and it was just a little bitty rectangular kind of like computer device that you stuck up on there, and that's what you had to use. So then the Microsoft X Live introduced its system in 2002, and that marked the turning point too, with robust matchmaking, voice chat, and downloadable content. Xbox Live made online gaming a central feature of console experiences. Games like Halo 2 in 2004 was one of the flagship titles that demonstrated the power of this ecosystem, fostering a dedicated online community. Now Sony and Nintendo eventually joined the fray. Sony's PlayStation Network, the PSN, and Nintendo's Wi-Fi connection followed, offering online play for popular titles like Call of Duty and Mario Kart. Now, Call of Duty was the game that I was more interested in. I wasn't as interested in it as what I was in other games, but like I said, I really was not a Mario Kart fan. But I did play around a couple times with with Call of Duty. I was more into PlayStation than what I was when it comes to Xbox, though, because I remember Xbox had the really crazy controller where you had the trigger down on the bottom and then you had to use both hands with it, and that really bugged me for the longest time. I finally did get used to it, but it still it did drive me nuts for a long time. But that's something that I've really had an issue with. And then here lately, I've been messing around with emulators, game emulators and stuff too. And I've noticed like the emulators even for Xbox are really horrible. You know, I can go on and I can get a good emulator for a PlayStation game for the PS3 and all that, but like whenever I go to like get emulators for Xbox 360, especially Xbox 360, they're just completely freaking horrible. I've been noticing that whenever it comes to these console games too, like even now with using emulators, the games just have really bad emulators to go with them when it comes to Xbox. I do find that kind of strange. However, these services often lag behind when it came to Xbox Live in terms of features and reliability, according to what's being said. But I don't know. A lot of people did talk it up, but I really wasn't big to compare which one was better. You know, whenever I was playing these games. There was no option for me if I had a choice between an Xbox or a PlayStation. You know, it was which one could I afford and which one did I have. If I went over to somebody else's house and they had an Xbox, I'd play it, you know. But I didn't have any of the newer Xbox versions back in the day, so it took me a while before I could actually get my hands on one. And I think the only one that I really had that was mine was an Xbox 360, to be fair. Um, just so you know. Now, the clash between internet and console gaming. This is where I wanted to bring it up. I want to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses. Now, consoles excelled in delivering polished, user-friendly experiences. Their plug-and-play nature and exclusive titles such as The Last of Us and God of War made them a popular choice for casual and hardcore gamers alike. Um, PC versus internet gaming. The flexibility and power of PCs allowed for greater graphic fidelity, modding capabilities, and uh, in, uh, innovative gameplay. Additionally, free-to-play online games like League of Legends gain massive popularity, challenging the console central business model. Now, for me, I really wasn't too much into all of that. Now, to be honest with you, on the consoles, I did enjoy God of War. I never got to really play The Last of Us. I know that a lot of people still play it today, but I was always the God of War kind of person. I actually even bought the game and had it. Think I still do have it sitting up on my counter. I did like that. When it comes to PC games, um, and what they're talking about here, the modding capability. I had a long, or it took me a long time to really get to where I was comfortable with that because I'm an old school gamer. I didn't like the idea of modding certain games, like when they started allowing you to mod Elder Scrolls or Skyrim here recently. I kind of got edgy about that. It took me a while to figure out that they've been involved in doing modding and DLCs and stuff like that for quite a long time. They actually Bethesda actually goes back quite a long ways. I finally figured that out whenever I was having a conversation with Rapid, and he brought it up. Oh, sorry, he brought it up, and it was actually true. And I think I've even had this conversation with Mark a couple times as well. So um, that's something that it did take a while for me to get over. You know, so the the whole business model thing too, I wasn't really big in kind of keeping up with the Benjamins. You know, I didn't really care about the most popular games, or I didn't care about like the whole business aspects of the games. For me, I personally feel that a lot of games today aren't all that great. The quality of games now could be a lot better. With the whole graphics and the new technology, they could put a lot more storyline in it, which I understand there are a bunch of kids who don't like storyline, and kids are who these companies really focus on the most. But, you know, there are a lot of people out there too who likes good storyline. The one thing about Modern Warfare that always drove me nuts was how short the storyline was. Um, that really bugged me. And besides that, too, like challenges. You know, it shouldn't be just a slash 'em up kind of game. You should have an actual obstacle and a challenge and things like that that you have to work through.